Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. You're watching Rebel Roundup, Rebel News' daily news and opinion show. I'm the regular host around here, Sheila, Gunn, Reid, and I'm joined today by a Thursday sub, Drea Humphrey. Drea, how's it going?
I'm happy to sub. I feel like it's been a while since you and I have done a stream together.
Yeah, for sure. Olivia, is Drea's audio low or is that just me?
Hello?
It is low. Yeah. While Drea gets
Okay.
that sorted out, I'll tell everybody what we're doing around here. So if you're watching us on Rumble, that's an excellent free speech platform. I love that Rumble doesn't care about your politics. That's how I want my social media platforms to be. So if you're watching us over there, there's a way that you can support us. That's by way of a Rumble rant. That's their paid chat over there. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we're reading it on air. If it's below that, we'll do our very best, time permitting. If you're watching us on YouTube, same rules apply. Their paid chat is called a super chat. If you miss the live version of the show, but you're moved by the spirit to support us, you can leave a comment called a super thanks. Now, we ask you for this because we'll never take a penny from the government to do the work that we do, and I think it shows. Left or right, we're critical of politicians when they do the wrong thing. And I think that keeps us honest. If we don't take government money, we're not politically contaminated by them. And you can sure see that contamination if you consume the mainstream media the way I have to for work. So I think that's it. Maybe Drea's got her audio sorted out, maybe not.
How do I sound? Do I sound better?
Little low still, but
Still
okay.
low. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I don't know what.
Yeah, there is an echo too, so you might want to check your audio source for your headphones.
Okay, let's
Anyway,
try. How's
well,
that? Is
Dre,
that better?
still low.
Still low. Okay.
Mhm.
Not even using the mic anymore. All right.
Okay, well, maybe let's let Drea get that sorted out, and I'll tell you guys what I was up to on Tuesday and Wednesday. So you may have noticed, or Monday, Tuesday? I forget now. The week is a blur. But I was not hosting for 2 days this week, and I do not recall which 2 days. It's Thursday, so it was Monday, Tuesday. Because I flew to Ottawa because I interviewed Conservative MP for Bowmanville, Oshawa North, Jamil Javani, on his campaign to stop liberal racism. That's what he calls DEI policies, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies that do exactly the opposite. They exclude certain people, not on their merit or lack thereof, but because of their race. And this is usually targeted at white males. They are passed over for jobs that they are completely qualified for, probably even the best person for the job, depending on their merit. However, government agencies, and we've seen this at the CBC, will pass them over for work in favor of hiring a less qualified candidate because that less qualified candidate checks a diversity box. And I think that has catastrophic implications for the Canadian economy going forward. It also makes the government bureaucracy more bloated because instead of having an efficient workforce doing its job, you have a bit of a half-assed workforce. And so if you have a bunch of people half-assing their job, you're going to need more of them to reach the same goals and to do the same amount of work. So I sat down with Jamil Javani in his Ottawa office. We talked about a bunch of stuff, actually, not just his stop liberal or pardon me, end liberal racism task force that he's forming to send recommendations to the government to root out this. I called it pernicious. He called it nefarious practice. And we talked about youth unemployment, the abuse of the temporary foreign worker program. We talked about the government's efforts to control social media platforms and the disaffecting of a generation of young men in this country and his efforts to repair that. So we've got a clip from that on his task force to end federal DEI policies. And, in that conversation, he told me this goes more broadly than just the federal government. He hopes that this is a cultural change in Canada where we just stop this division of people. So let's roll that clip. Heritage Declaration Months. Thanks, by the way, for sitting down with me. Yeah, for sure. I wanted to talk to you about a phrase that you use a lot, and that is liberal racism. How do you define that?
Well, liberal racism is the same kind of ancient racism, bigotry, prejudice, discrimination that most people think of when they think of racism. But these days it's often dressed up as a progressive idea. So when I say liberal racism, I'm trying to remind people that, 50 years ago when they wouldn't hire a person because of their skin color, and we look back at that and say that was wrong, that's still happening today and it's still wrong. And we call it liberal racism to remind them that these policies are being presented as if there's something new, but really it's the same old kind of ancient bigotries that people have been fighting against for a long time, and we have to keep fighting against them.
So how did we get so far from judging a person on the content of their character or their meritocracy versus the color of their skin? Like, how did we end up here?
I think two things happened. One was that I do think some people with good intentions thought it was a way to remedy historical injustices. I think they were wrong. And I think evidence is proving they were wrong, that a lot of the injustices that people face have less to do with their skin color and more to do with class or the circumstances that they're born into, which you cannot predict based on what someone looks like. So I think that was a mistake, but I think there were some good intentions there. But that has been matched with what I think are much more cynical intentions, which is there are people in positions of power, and I would argue that the Liberal government here in Ottawa is an example of this, who like to use these sort of race-based policies to look as though they're very generous and charitable and considerate of others, while everyone's life gets harder and the quality of life goes down and the wait lines at hospitals are longer, and it's just a way to make it look like they're thinking of others when actually they're not doing much for anybody at all.
And I guess there's an unintended consequence, and that is the quality of services go down, or economic activity goes down, GDP goes down, because there's a substantial portion of the economy that's hiring people not based on being the best person for the job, but rather because they check an identity box.
Yeah, I mean, it's the destruction of meritocracy. And I think most people, regardless of what you look like or where you come from, deep down inside know that, hard work and being talented and doing well in school and trying hard in your job should mean something. And the fact that there are people who are being denied jobs because of things out of their control, based on things of where their parents come from or what they look like, I mean, that's just not right. But even for people from minority communities like myself, I mean, the government will openly just say, like, they don't think we're good enough. And that is a very paternalistic kind of racism that, people have been dealing with for a long time. And I think the idea that we're supposed to think that that's a compliment or that's a good thing, I mean, when the government literally will say, in writing, they do not hire the most qualified candidate because they believe you cannot find the most qualified candidate from minority communities, that is not something a government should be comfortable saying to the public. And yet they say it openly as if it's something we should all accept and just take on the chin.
Now, you said that
good.
the government has it's like a 24-minute interview, so we're not going to show it all here, but I'm really glad that he said, when you hire me based on the color of my skin, i.e., I'm a visible minority, that's you telling me that I'm not good enough to get this job on my own. And so I need your help. I'm glad he pointed that out, because it's not just discrimination towards qualified white candidates. The left can say that reverse racism doesn't exist, but obviously that's exactly what DEI is. But on the flip side, it's the bigotry of low expectations directed at minority communities, when the government is saying you couldn't get this far in your life on hard work and merit. You need me to step in and help you. And I think that's terrible. And it's absolutely the wrong message to send to a country struggling with a unity crisis. Drea, are you back?
You tell me, am I back?
It's still low, but we'll deal
Okay, I'm gonna yell. I hope you hear me now. Yeah, breath of fresh air to hear that coming from a federal MP and tackling this issue. We've been covering it at Rebel News. DEI must die. And like you said, I don't like the limiting beliefs that this pushes upon, of course, not just society, but in particular students who are doing things like getting scholarships based on their identity, and all of this sort of mentality that based on the skin God gave you, you are somehow defective or disabled and you need all of this extra help. So I've always been speaking out against this. And it is liberal racism. That's typically where we see it coming down from. And enough is enough. People are over it. I mean, over here in our university at SFU, they're hiring, faculty based on race, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, they somehow with DEI managed to get both sides wrong. Where they're saying like somehow white people are just based on your skin color, somehow either overprivileged or evil, and people who are visible minorities or sexual minorities for that matter are less capable and then need government intervention to achieve the upper echelons of society. I mean, somehow the liberals have managed to discriminate against people both ways through this policy, and he's right. It just has to end. We're way past that, I think, in society.
Just real quick, I just shared a link. I was being totally sarcastic on X. But basically, it was the Honorable John Augenstein announcing that today I joined the community to advocate for Black representation on the new Advisory Council of Rights, Equality, and Inclusion. And so I had commented saying, can I join? I love equality. Let's start by helping Black youth unlearn limiting beliefs imposed on them by modern day oppressors. That Canada is racist and their skin color determines what they can achieve. Oh, and let's tackle racism by ending identity-based hiring. That way people won't mistake those of us who work hard to achieve for a diversity hire. I'm excited. When do I start? Needless to say.
I think you're the right person for the job, but I don't want to lose you.
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't think you're at risk of that at all. Sadly. But yeah, no, that's the thing. And I'm glad people are comfortable speaking against it. And again, it's so nice to have an MP. I'm so glad you flew out there to tackle it. And it shouldn't even be controversial. It's common sense. Martin Luther King would be rolling over in his grave. And the whole push to say color blindness is racism. I mean, that's, I think, when it really started to go downhill, when people were like, oh, if you just look at people and treat them like they're the same as you're racist.
Right. Yeah. It's so funny because, 30 years ago, everybody wanted a colorblind society and we all said, okay, yeah. Fine, good, we'll do that. And then we do it and they're like, that's racist. Can you go back to choosing people based on the color of their skin? Why don't we just segregate the water fountains while we're at it? If we're really rolling back the hands of time. And Jamil Javani is the right guy for this job. He came from an underprivileged background. He is very clearly a man of color. Good luck to the privileged liberal rich guys like Evan Solomon and Mark Miller calling him racist. Like, good luck to them.
They'll find a way. They call you a white supremacist supporter. I know this from experience.
Right. They call you that. Yes. Having grown up very underprivileged, I love when rich white guys tell me what it takes to not be poor anymore. I really appreciate their advice. They've never had to struggle for anything. All right. Next one. This is a story a year in the making, and I'm wondering why we're just hearing about it now, why the charges are just being laid now. But I was looking back in my Google Photos memories, and I was like, oh, a year ago, I was at the G7 in Kananaskis. Now, I didn't stay in Kananaskis or Banff because it was too expensive. I hauled my holiday trailer and I stayed at the Lions Campground in Canmore, and it was a delight. I feel like I shouldn't have been paid for it, but it was. But hotel rooms were outrageous. And while we were there, we didn't know about it, but it was posted to Snapchat, and just now we're finding out about it, and just now charges have been laid. Police officer, RCMP officer, who had come to Alberta, I guess, because it's a Quebec RCMP officer. I'll keep my comments to myself there. Charged with uttering threats, targeting Donald Trump. So according to an RCMP press release, Evanson Dumerloos, 34, of Quebec, allegedly posted a video on his Snapchat. This guy's a cop, come on. In which he made threatening comments toward US President Donald Trump. It was deployed when he was, or the video was posted when he was deployed to oversee security operations at the G7 summit last year in Alberta. The investigation was taken over by the Special Investigations Unit after a fellow, thank you very much, whoever you are, a fellow RCMP officer reported the video. He was removed from his duties on the same day as the incident. So he's already been off for a year. It doesn't actually say what he said, but it must have been bad. He's just been charged, and his first appearance is July 30th. So he's been off for a year before we even heard about this. Just charged now a year later. And this is who they had in charge of security operations there, or at least his part of the security operations.
It's so concerning. And I think it's just this ongoing theme of just sort of like dehumanizing politicians, Trump, Charlie Kirk. You have these people in these positions of power, positions in this case where he literally knows the law. He knows what's legal and what isn't. But they're so emboldened by their echo chambers, and they think everybody thinks the same way as they do, so they can get away with saying something like this, whatever it is he actually said, and not have any consequences. For example, when they celebrated the assassination attempts on it, it reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how they're selecting people for these postings too. Like if you're there to protect the president, or at least make sure nothing bad happens, and you would, and like, it's so crazy. This wasn't said like privately over a beer that they hate Donald Trump. Whatever, you're allowed your political beliefs, even if you're an RCMP officer. You're allowed that. I don't care. Like, but to post this to his Snapchat? What's wrong with this guy?
Like I said, we're seeing it more and more. I'm not that surprised by it because we keep seeing this over and over, whether it be university professors who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination, like the horrific, in front of students. You have professors like applauding this and asking for more. Social worker out here in BC was saying, can we have more of this? People have lost touch with their morals in society. And I think that the scariest part is, like you said, he's in charge of security in this situation. He's got a gun legally to use it. What happens if you go to an incident, where there's a dispute on who did what, and you look in the house and there's like Trump, posters up in the wall? How is this officer going to treat them?
Well, and I'm pretty sure if I had uttered those same threats to Trump in front of that officer, I would have been arrested and charged that day.
Right.
Anyway. Next story, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary calls out fracturing relationship with Canada. So, and I love this guy's name. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen said the fracturing relationship with Canada and the United States needs restoring. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I wish that our Canadian government wasn't so belligerent and accelerationist in their comments with the Americans, given that the Americans could just crush our economy just like that, or at least large portions of Canada's economy just like that. And he said, we need to restore security in both countries, making the claim that pressures on Mexican cartels have forced criminal activity to America's northern border. And I think you know this well, with the dawn of the super labs in British Columbia. And that has really been a bone of contention and a monkey wrench in the trade negotiations with the Americans. Our lack of an desire to do anything about this. I know in Alberta, we have our own border patrol because the feds aren't doing a good job of it. And we wanted to demonstrate to the Americans, look, we're trying, we're taking this seriously. But you come from a province where they give out hard drugs to people all the time, and then it gets trafficked everywhere else.
Give out hard drugs, put, crack pipes and vending machines outside of hospitals for free. So addicts can get mad at the nurses trying to save lives when the machine is low. I mean, we're crazy out here. And if you remember at the beginning of the tariff conflict, Trump actually listed in, I'm not sure what it's called, but when he wrote about it, he specifically called out British Columbia for this type of stuff. But also a name that I don't love, Minister Gary Anandasangari.
You nailed it.
Did I? If I slowly say it.
Yep.
When he's talking about it, it's like, yeah, duh. He says, some of the fracturing we have right now between the countries, we've got to figure it out because we're not going anywhere and they're not going anywhere. It's like, you think? What was all this elbows up stuff in the beginning and whatever the heck we've been doing for,
Right.
almost a year now, or actually over a year now.
Yep. Yeah. I use this analogy a lot, but it's like the arsonist showing up to the scene of the crime with the bucket of water and helping put out the fire that they started. And then wanting, a medal
An interview.
or like a medal for intervening in the fire. You guys did this.
Yeah.
Minister Ananda Sangari, Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau, Melanie Joly with their anti-American rhetoric. Every time Trump said, could you guys just behave yourselves? And they would just run to the media, spout off, and then we get another tariff. And it happened repeatedly. Like, I think even if they're slow on the uptake, like not good learners, even if like around time 3 that it happened to us, you think they might have stopped. No, they keep doing it. And then now they're like, now that we're approaching the USMCA deadline, they're like, you know what? We really got to get a handle on this.
Yeah, this is getting real. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy they're at least doing it because when it comes to issues like what is a woman, they're still not getting it. So I suppose this is faster than it could be.
Trump said, this is from Global News, Trump said he would prefer to see I hate when they say CUSMA. USMCA just seems a little bit easier to say. US President Trump suggested that the US is better without the USMCA, and he prefers it to be terminated. He was speaking to reporters at the G7 in France before boarding a flight. He said, I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it. But we, the US, do better as a country when we don't have an agreement. On July 1st, a mandated review process kicks off that will see the 3 countries either agree to renew the USMCA for another 16 years or enter a 10-year period of annual reviews. I can't handle that. I can't handle that. In the latter scenario, so the 10 years reviews, the deal would stay in place while negotiations continue, though any country could choose to withdraw altogether by giving 6 months notice. This is terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. And in that article, there's a video, you don't have to put it on, but Mark Reisman, the country's ambassador, is talking and to the audience and stuff. He reminds me of when like parents are telling their kids that they're gonna get a divorce, but it's gonna be okay.
It's
like you're gonna have 2 Christmases. Like,
right.
Don't worry, it's coming to an end on June 30th, but don't worry, we still have time. There's still time. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is terrifying. Trump saying that there might be no deal. I mean, he said the main reason that he wanted to do, I'm gonna say CUSMA, sorry, Sheila.
It's okay.
Is that he wanted to get out of NAFTA. But now he's saying there might not be any agreement. I may sign it, I may not, which is kind of how Trump is with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So hopefully it really isn't a big deal, and he just likes keeping us on our toes for whatever reason. But if there is no agreement, it brings so much uncertainty to our trade. I think,
especially the auto sector.
Especially the auto sector, and even the whole tariff thing, because aren't the rules of tariffs governed under this as well? So sky's the limit.
Yeah. I can't wait for Doug Ford to open his big yap and make this all worse.
Pay for propaganda across the U.S.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is either going to get better or at least stay the same, or it's going to get worse. I think best case scenario, it just stays the same. But it could get worse based on how Canadian politicians are going to react. And I'm looking at you, Doug Ford. Please shut your big yap. please. If you care about the people of Ontario,
Yeah, don't threaten to cut off their electricity so the Americans freeze to death.
right, right,
Jeez.
yeah,
Gosh.
or tell Alberta to stop the flow of oil to the United States without knowing that that same pipe carries him oil. Like,
My God.
anyway, what a guy. Okay, last story on the elbows up lunacy before we hit an ad break. It's a video of just how taken into the cult of elbows up one person can be. And we have all seen people like this in the wild. I encountered one with the billboard truck in the wild one time. Just how too heavy on the CBC they are. This person says that, and it's Catherine Paternal. I haven't even watched this clip, but I'm going to guess her age already. She's an old bra burner, I bet. Ready to celebrate Canada. She was ready to celebrate Canada's national soccer team, but her feelings for the Americans have really put a damper on that because we're co-hosting FIFA World Cup, which I care so little about, with the Americans. And so she said, I can't even enjoy soccer. Does anybody enjoy soccer? I don't know.
Lots of people enjoy soccer. I just don't enjoy the amount of money that's gone into in my province. When we have right around the corner a huge homelessness issue.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I'm glad.
But I haven't been following it.
No, I don't care.
I saw Trudeau, I saw him supporting the US. Elbows up Trudeau supporting the US with Katy Perry.
Our relationship is fractured with the United States. The old order is over. And, he's the guy who told us don't travel to the United States anymore. We hate them.
That's right.
Only travel inside of Canada. Cancel your vacations. Where has he been for the last 90 days? Gallivanting all over the United States with Katy Perry and attending the American games. You know what, though? They can have them. I just wish they had taken him
absolutely.
like 13 years ago. I wish he had found this new Americanism and just left us to be a C-list celebrity in the United States. The world would have been a better place.
To be fair, if he came here and watched a Canadian game, like the amount of booze that would happen in front of Katy, like I don't know if she's really experienced how much Canadians like him. So, yeah, that's probably another reason why we won't see him over here anytime soon with her.
Yeah,
at least.
He said he's being a supportive boyfriend. That's what he said. And I just, good. So according to Reuters, from this article that was republished in CTV, most Canadians Reuters spoke to said they were not willing to put their feelings aside during the World Cup. This is the lady I was talking about. That was sort of quoted in our notes. And I was like, I bet I know exactly how old she is. Absolutely not. 68-year-old Linda Anson said bluntly in Toronto when asked if she would make the trip to catch games in the United States. Of course, she's a boomer. She highlighted Trump's remarks about Canada as the main reason and said she would have preferred the World Cup to be hosted exclusively in Canada and Mexico. And then her husband, Bruce, said, we are a sovereign nation. Thanks, Bruce. It was gross. These people. I knew she was 68. I knew she was like a 1970s feminist bra burner who then settled down, got married, bought her house in the GTA for $30,000, a penny whistle and a moon pie. And then now it's worth $3 million. And she couldn't give a damn about the young people of this country.
And shout out to the percentage of boomers that have not fallen for this crap. It's kind of like the LGBTQ members that are like, no, we don't want to indoctrinate kids, or the Karens who don't act like Karens. I see you. I feel your pain.
We do. And I also know you write me emails every time I talk about boomers. You're like, Sheila, we didn't vote for Carney. then I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
I know, because I'm from Alberta and our boomers are arch conservatives. They're more conservative than me. Like
Yeah.
they've been through 2 Trudeaus. You cannot find a group of people that dislike the Liberals more than our boomers. So I'm not talking about them. But I know,
Yeah.
we all know.
Statistically, you're talking statistics.
I'm talking about voting habits, and them's are the facts. The 60-something Toronto area grandmothers, they did vote Carney. Like they did. Sorry. Look, and I say this as a middle-aged, middle-class white lady. There's something wrong with my cohort too. So when I talk about those ladies, I know I'm not talking about me, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I said one last thing, but let's just do this one more thing, because I see on social media the elbows up types are like, they're saying look at Trump's ego. Look at his ego, and look at what a gentleman Mark Carney is. Trump said that he had a low chair at the G7 because it makes him look bad in photos. It's true. Like if my chair fell down right now, I can't do it right now.
Oh,
You
I
would
did
be
it.
like, Sheila, you look crazy. And so Trump's complaining about his low chair. And yeah, it feels weird because it feels like you're sitting at the kids' table. And I think somebody did that on purpose to him. And so Mark Carney
Probably.
brings him a chair. And so here's how I know somebody did that on purpose, because other people had higher chairs.
So
But
did they bring in did he have a completely different chair than everybody?
I
Oh
think
no,
so.
he couldn't figure out how to raise it, and people were making
Yeah,
fun of him
maybe.
for that too.
So then Carney switches it. But you could see his chair was substantially lower than I think Macron was sitting beside him, or whoever that was. No, it's not Macron. I don't know who that bald guy is. But yeah, he's sitting low, and like, look where his shoulders are.
I agree with the fact that this is a thing. The fact that so many are talking about it, it's like, why is anybody talking about this? Like,
Right.
my chair's too low. And if anything, it's kind of like Carney's right there ready to serve. Kind of
Right.
like when Trump made a dig at transitioning your own children right beside him, and he just sat silently like that. He didn't do that very thing, but he's right there. But it's just so weird. People are micromanaging everything.
Yeah, the elbows up boomers are like, look at his ego. And it's like, well, the desk is at his chest.
Yeah.
Like, I would do the same thing. I would be like, can I get a proper chair? I'm the leader of the free world. Which one of you sabotaged my chair?
Well, remember Trudeau, again, I don't know why we're talking about him so much, but because he was so tall, he would actually like pretty much do the splits horizontally when he was like around certain leaders, in particular from Asia, so that he was on the same level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who the cameraman was that did him dirty, because the rest of them would just show the top. There's this one cameraman just got the whole angle. He's like literally doing the split.
Funny.
So funny.
Yeah. Anyway, let's hit an ad break. We'll come back on the other side.
For generations, many Canadians have preserved more than just firearms. They've preserved history, tradition, competition, memories. But under Trudeau, and now Carney, heirlooms, estates, collectibles, and competition firearms now have to be surrendered and destroyed. While violent gun criminals get pass after pass, openly ignoring any legislation, lawful gun owners are trapped in an increasingly unfair legal system. But we can help. Canada's National Firearms Association's Save Firearms program offers the legal pathway to preserve what matters, while we work towards a political solution. Don't let yours be next. Save history. Save heritage. Save firearms. Visit nfa.ca today to learn more.
In Canada, firearms owners like me understand the importance of safe, effective self-defense options. That's why we're proud to have Byrna as a sponsor. Byrna's less lethal launchers are designed to help protect you and your family without taking a life. Byrna offers peace of mind, accessibility, and a practical layer of personal security for Canadians who value safety. Learn more at byrna.ca/rebel. That's byrna.ca/rebel.
Canada's been told to just quit smoking for decades, same message over and over, and yet millions of Canadians still smoke. So let's ask a follow-up question. For those who don't quit, what about change? In 2026, Canada has options that didn't exist years ago. Smoke-free alternatives for adults who would otherwise continue smoking. That doesn't mean risk-free, it means informed choice. If you don't smoke, don't start. If you smoke, quit. But for those who don't quit, change could still be part of the conversation. That's why Canadians should check out unsmoke.ca, an information resource focused on smoke-free alternatives and honest facts, not judgment. Put the lighter down, Canada. Learn what your options are.
Alrighty. We've got an ad read here from our friends at Rumble Wallet. So I'll get to that right now. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you can actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to the banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. There's no complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators, like me, directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. I wish I could go from hearing about crypto to owning some to understanding crypto. I own some. I just don't know I don't know how I got it. I don't know what it does. But got some money parked in it and I'm just leaving it there. I'm scared of it.
That's exactly what I do too. I have a little bit, and because it's so confusing, I'm not going to touch it. But just don't lose those codes. You imagine being those people who got involved in the beginning. Same thing. They're like, don't really know what this is. I'm going to buy a pizza that's worth like $100,000 with my crypto now. Oh my gosh. But the ones that have lost their codes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it. And I know this is going to prompt emails because every time I mention this, it does. People really sincerely sending me emails, trying to help me. And I just can't. I think I don't know if I'm intelligent, but I think I can function well in the world. And I understand a lot of the things going on around me. Crypto, no clue.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm like that too. Oh my God.
As I said to Lise, I want to go to see the crypto mine. Like, I want to see the Oompa Loompas working in the mine, getting it out of the ground. And that's not what crypto is. So I just can't get my head around it. I need to tangible, something I can touch. But I realize that it is a great way of getting around government control. All right. Next story from the National Post. This is horrible, and it is something that we hear about repeatedly. It seems like there's a new story every single day. An Indigenous offender who murdered his wife and son. So not just his wife. This is a family annihilator. Gets below normal sentence. Why? Usual reason. Due to Indigenous heritage. So they said a BC judge has cited a BC man's Indigenous heritage when sentencing him for the violent murder of his wife and teenage son. Orland Marcel Dennis has been sentenced to life in prison, but he will be eligible for parole in 10 years, 5 years of life, according to a recent decision from the BC Supreme Court, Trudeau appointee judge. The Dennis home was the scene of multiple murders in early April 2024. After accusing his wife, Darlene, of cheating on him, Dennis shot her in the face. Then when his 18-year-old son, Dorian, responded after hearing the gunshot, Dennis shot him too. Police found the bodies while an RCMP negotiator was trying to convince Dennis to lay down his rifle and leave his mother's home, where he went after the killings. But he came out, gun in hand, and police shot him twice before arresting him. He lived?
Yeah.
The tragedy followed several years of addiction and violent assaults against Dennis's wife and daughters. Who could have seen this coming except everybody involved?
Exactly.
And Justice Simon Koval, his name should have been in the subheading of this and not six paragraphs down, because these judges, people should know who they are. Noted in his sentencing decision that both Dennis's parents were residential school survivors, and he grew up poor in a remote environment of violence, drug, and alcohol abuse. And he's a member of an Indigenous reserve of around 235 members. According to the Indigenous sentencing report used by Koval in considering his sentence, Dennis also said he had been sexually abused by a community member when he was young, went into foster care at 7, and left school early. Also, a brother died in a violent death, and his sister and cousin died of drug overdoses. Where in all of this are people responsible for their own actions? There are a lot of people in this world, we all know them, who have grown up in terrible, difficult home situations, and they have not turned out like this because they made a conscious choice to end the cycle of violence, end the cycle of abuse, end the cycle of addiction. Where's the personal accountability in all of this? Is just because things were bad, that's not an excuse for you to do the things that you do. You are a human being with autonomy. This is the bigotry of low expectations. We were talking about it at the beginning of the show.
Well, and how many other people have grown up in, no matter what race they are, in tough situations, whether they had addict parents or whatever it is, they were abused by their parents or things like this. And we're throwing in residential school as well. So it's not even their experience we're talking about here. It's just so crazy. But when you talk about, the Justice Koval, the root of this issue is the Gladue principles that judges are required to consider. So they have to actually show and prove that they've considered these principles whenever they are going ahead with sentencing for somebody who is Indigenous. And that the whole Gladue thing is the suggestion that based on those rules that those reasons that you basically listed, the sentences should be softer for these people. And the story of Gladue is just like this. It's a lady. She was a young woman who accused her partner of an affair, I think with her sister, and she stabbed him and killed him. And for some reason, because alcoholism was involved and things like that, for some reason, we have this whole umbrella system where we have to do it. And the ones who suffer the most from this are Indigenous women. Right. They have higher murder rates, and those rates are disproportionately done by Indigenous men. So we are just giving that a free pass over and over when an individual like this, who's been violent repeatedly with their family members, finally kills 2 of them, could be walking amongst us in 10 years.
Right. I'm glad you pointed that out, because people seem to forget that statistic. They talk about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, but they forget to include that missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls are often disappeared or murdered by their Indigenous partners. That's what the statistics show. And actually, if we care about missing and murdered Indigenous people, and I do, then we need to point out that Indigenous men are more frequently murdered or go missing than Indigenous women. But you are right to point out that what message does this send to Indigenous women? Are they less of a victim of domestic violence because their abuser happens to be Indigenous also? What a terrible message to send.
It's horrible. And it's a typical slap on the wrist. Now, did you just say that Indigenous men go missing more than women? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yep. And a lot of people don't know that. They go missing at a greater rate than Indigenous women and girls, but we don't want to talk about that.
That is, I'd love to look into why that is. But I mean, it's horrible for anybody to go missing. And I know Indigenous people, again, are disproportionately going missing. But it just brings into question why we hear that over and over, missing Indigenous women and children. We never hear about the men if they're the ones going missing the most. That's crazy. I think we need a whole report on that.
Yeah, I'll send you some statistics. Nobody wants to talk about it. There's no inquiries for those men.
Oh, I think we forgot to invite people to participate in this, or maybe I was distracted with my
You
sound. But
were fixing your thing.
okay, well, let me know in the comments if you guys knew that, or if it's just Sheila Whiz Gun Reid.
Yeah, I don't know about crypto, but I do know crime
Yeah.
statistics. Yeah. All right. We've got this story out of Terry Fox's hometown. Upsetting and disrespectful, and I will agree with this. Terry Fox statue in Hero's hometown allegedly vandalized. It doesn't look like allegedly. An unknown substance was allegedly poured, like you can see it in the photos, CTV, onto a statue of Terry Fox in the Canadian hero's hometown in Port Coquitlam. The incident is believed to have occurred between midnight on June 2nd and 7 a.m. on June 13th, said the local detachment. I know the mayor of Poco spoke out against this. I just
Brad
wonder who I just wonder who did this, and this harkens back to the Freedom Convoy when the
Yes.
entire nation was outraged, like outraged. They said it was vandalism. It was being desecrated and defaced. And you know what the Freedom Convoy did? They put a sign that said freedom on Terry Fox and then draped him in a Canadian flag. That
Yeah.
shouldn't be offensive to anybody. This like that's the symbol of our country, but back then they hated the Canadian flag because the wrong people were waving it. Now they're all elbows up, Canadian flag cowboy hats. But that was offensive to them. And yet you won't see the same outrage over actual defacement of the statue in Terry Fox's hometown.
No, you're so right. And yeah, even the sign that they put on him, it wasn't like they strapped him on it. It was like placed in his.
It was draped.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. And the fact that they're saying allegedly here, but then the titles were all, Terry Fox displaced. But leave Terry Fox alone. Like we already took him off of our passports under the Liberal. And now this is happening. This is where the area I grew up in. I'm super frustrated with this. And in his hometown, it's just extra salt to the wounds, and hopefully they find whoever did it. I mean, not too surprised that it's BC.
Yeah. Next story: groups launch constitutional challenge of safe third country agreement. Of course, it's the usual suspects. Amnesty International and the Canadian Council for Refugees have filed a new federal court challenge on the constitutionality of a treaty with the U.S. that says refugees must claim asylum in whichever country they arrive in first. And refugee rights organizations say the Canada Border Services Agency is improperly applying the rules, turning away people despite evidence that their rights are being threatened. This, for people who don't understand, if you are going to a country and you're going to claim refugee status, you have to do it in the first safe country that you land in, which means if you are, let's say, from Venezuela, I think you might be maybe not now, but 6 months ago, you might have been a legitimate refugee from Venezuela or Cuba. If you land in the United States first, you have to claim asylum there. You cannot country shop, which is what these people have been doing. They're coming from Haiti illegally into the United States, then thinking, you know what? Things might be better in Montreal. They give us a lot of free stuff up there. And we do. And so then they go through the United States and claim asylum in Canada. This was the Roxham Road problem. And it was a violation of this treaty with the United States. And now these agents or these refugee rights organizations are claiming that this is a violation of the rights of refugees to not be able to country shop. It's crazy.
Well, that's the way it should be. Now, is it easy to claim amnesty from Honduras? Like, is that one of the countries?
I don't know. Yeah,
I haven't heard that a lot. It says that the family was doing it from the threat of gangs. I don't know. It almost seems like you would hear the same thing from Mexico or something. I know Honduras is more dangerous.
Yeah, that's something that they should plead in a U.S. court.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think this is our business. If you landed in the United States first,
Deal with it there.
Sort it out there.
You're free. You're safe. That's the
Right.
whole point, right? So
Yeah. You have to do it in the first country that you get to, and not the third or fourth, depending on the benefits provided to you by that country.
and I'm not surprised. Like if we actually had the numbers, I'm pretty sure Canada is way up there as far as where people want to be coming. Seems like it, especially since Trump is getting way harder with ICE. Like more people are going to want to come here. So.
Yep, for sure.
Yay, us. Yay.
Great. Great. This is why we have a referendum on immigration benefits to people coming to Alberta in October, because we're just tired of paying for this. Like, we're tired of people shopping countries, landing in Canada, landing in Toronto, deciding that Toronto's too expensive, and then moving to Alberta, and then we have to provide them the benefits because the federal government didn't deal with this appropriately. That's why we have a series of 10 immigration related questions on our referendum in October. And I'm not sure what we can do about a federal problem while we're still part of Confederation, but at least we're asking the question. Speaking of immigration, no wonder they can't handle this stuff over at the Immigration Department, over at IRCC, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, because their employees and staff there are, I think, out of pocket a little bit. Employee misconduct, wrongdoing at Immigration Department includes fraud and violence. I had an order paper question on this a while ago, where it was the theft that was occurring across Global Affairs Canada. Like, in every foreign outpost related to Global Affairs Canada, they were stealing everything from cash to the office furniture. So it's just, it surprised me. From sexual harassment to violence to racism. I'm always skeptical when the government says racism, because what they say is racism and what I say is racism, two different things. Fraud. Yeah. Canada's Immigration Department recorded 105 cases of employee misconduct and wrongdoing last year.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. They've only fired 3 people though. There were 47 suspensions without pay, which means the other 55 got pay with their suspensions. They got a big vacation. These people don't even go into the office. How would they know that they're suspended with pay? They don't even go to work. 47 cases dealt with time theft, tardiness, absenteeism, or unauthorized leave. Well, that is still theft if you're stealing your wage. One of the most serious involved an IRCC employee accused of simultaneously holding 2 full-time federal government jobs over a period of 3 years, during which they even made fake overtime claims. Now, this one I find unbelievable, because I feel like these people hardly do 1 full-time job. This guy's holding down 2 full-time jobs over 3.5 years. He did fake the overtime pay though, and I doubt he was working actually at either one. And I don't know how you don't get flagged in the system for taking 2 paychecks from the federal government at the same time.
Like 4 p.m. or 3:59. Like, how's that even happening? But I'm still stuck on only 3 people getting fired. How do you have sexual assaults, theft, and that type of fraud, and only 3 people are gone? That means we're still paying for people doing this? I'm so confused.
Yeah, they got suspensions with pay, quite likely, which 50% of these people were suspended with pay, 47% without pay, not fired, only 3 were fired.
That's not. And then you think of all the healthcare workers, etc., during lockdowns who are still fighting for what was rightfully theirs. Or they've just given up and they're maids now, as we are understaffed in our hospitals out here. Yeah,
I mean, this is what our taxes go to. Like, we just had Tax Freedom Day a couple of weeks ago, which means that everything you make now actually belongs to you. So you worked 6 months of the year for all that money to go to the federal government in one form of taxation or another, whether it's through gas tax, GST, PST, income tax, property tax, just 1,000 different ways that these people tax you that you don't even realize. And it gets added into everything. You worked half a year to make sure that the people who were faking their time records and sexually harassing each other got a year off without pay, or with pay, sorry. Feels good, doesn't it?
Wild West over there, apparently. Like, what's happening?
Yep. Essential services, they tell me. We've got 2 quick clips and then we've got a cringe. I kind of like the cringe that you chose about the junkies.
Well, that one's long though, but
Is it?
It's
did you pick another one? Okay.
well,
Okay, we'll do that.
The junkie one is good, but
We
it
can
just
show the junkie
depends
one
on how much
tomorrow.
time we have. Yeah,
It's
they
such a
the junkie.
BC thing, though.
Yeah.
All right. A journalist asked MP Andrew Lawton, former journalist, now the Conservative MP for London, who actually, he's in our documentary on medical assistance in dying, MAID Canada, the dark side of Canadian compassion. He tells his story about his suicide attempt to us. And like every single suicide attempt survivor I've ever met, he's grateful that he lived and grateful for the treatment that he received on the other side and grateful for the help. And he survived a suicide attempt, went on to be a very successful journalist and author, and now he's the Conservative MP for his riding. So he understands how you can come out of the worst place of darkness and become something that makes change for the better for other people. Thank God the government wasn't offering him medical assistance in dying. And so anyways, he's an MP, and he's asked what he'd say to mentally ill people hoping for assisted suicide to come their way at the hands of the state.
What do you think should be done for those people who are suffering from mental illness right now, who are hoping for this expansion to take effect next March?
What kind of question is this?
We need to provide support and care. We need to provide people with the resources so they do not want to end their lives. And I'm so grateful that we have come to a conclusion that will not tell these people that we should be killing them, which is what would have happened. We're not giving up on them. We insist that everyone has a right to recover.
What the hell kind of question was that? You know, what kind of question is that? What would you say to people who were hoping that the state would show up with 2 different medications and euthanize them in their beds?
I think a
Who
demon
asks
asked
that?
that question. That
Yeah.
had to have been a demon with him. Like, I don't get it. This is so bad. This is so bad for Canada, everybody. I hope everybody really understands just how bad this is, that it could be normalized. Like, this is eugenics thriving, that if you struggle with mental health, you can just have the state help you commit suicide. I mean, I was a mental health professional for many years. I have family members with severe mental health. And what you said, what Andrew said, once they come out of that ideation, they're doing great. They don't want to die. But it looks different for everyone. Like, there's so many well-presenting people who struggle with mental health that could easily walk into one of these MAID doctors and really convince a doctor who doesn't know them very well that, yeah, this is what they really want to do, because they still have lingering effects from an episode that they were in for 3 months or what have you. This is a hill that, like a sword that I'm willing to fall on. I'm mortified that this is supposed to happen next year. If you guys agree with me and you ever see our articles about it or you want to search it, please share, because we have to get ahead of the normalization of this. We have to make sure, A, people know about it, because a lot of Canadians don't even know this is the plans for next year. So that's one reason you should share. And B, the common sense about how wrong this really is before the Liberals disguise it as some sort of human right that we should all be cheering for. I'm just so disgusted.
Well, and so the health committee has said, okay, well, we're not going to recommend this for 2027, but that doesn't mean that they won't do it in 2027. It doesn't mean that it's going away. And it's clearly not going away. I think this is just maybe a delay, but maybe not. It could happen on the exact right timeline. But how do you, as a journalist, I'm still thinking about that question. Do you not know anything about the man you're asking a question to?
Yeah.
He was in a coma. because of his suicide attempt. And he came out of that and became somebody who is so successful. The man is an example of what can be with proper intervention, help, and hope. And she asked him a question like, what are you going to tell the disappointed people who don't get to die at the hands of the state?
So gross. I literally feel sick over this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we catch what outlet that was too? Like what the
I
heck's
think
the article?
CTV. Sounds like Judy Tran again.
We're gonna find their article. Conservatives want to save the lives of the mentally ill.
Oh, did you? I talked about it yesterday. Andre Picard from the Globe and Mail. He fancies himself to be Canada's health journalist of note. I think it's Tamara Ugolini, but that's okay. And he said, you know, the expansion of medical assistance in dying to the mentally ill is a great thing that should be celebrated. This is it. This is, again, if Moloch didn't write this, then another demon did.
Oh my God.
In the first 10 years of MAID, more than 100,000 Canadians have averted unnecessary suffering at end of life. You can avert unnecessary suffering, by the way, with proper palliative care. But in most provinces, palliative care money is diverted from end of life treatment over to MAID. So people aren't getting the proper care that they need in hospice to manage their end of life pain because those funds are going over to help people die. But let's go back to what he said, because there's a big truth in the middle of this where I don't want to be one of those people that sees demons everywhere, because sometimes it is aliens.
Man,
but
it's hard not to see it. Even non-believers are saying this. Like, they're like, man, I don't believe in God, but I'm starting to see evil. Like, evil's there.
Baby steps, they'll get there. He said that's cause for celebration. Assisted death, and this is the chilling part where I'm like, are they just actually saying this out loud after I've said this is like a satanic ritual for years? Assisted death has become a significant ritual, not a slippery slope. As I said,
ritual.
Moloch always gets his human sacrifices, whether it's reproductive rights or medical assistance in dying. It's always
with dignity.
Yeah.
Like, how is that dignified? Oh my gosh, I don't even.
Yeah, that's Old Testament biblical evil on display right there. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's hit the cringe. We have a chat. I'll do the chat first, then we'll do the cringe. This is from our American friend, Sasquatch Chronicles, $9.99. Rebel News needs to have Sheila on the shows early in the week. The random journalists do an okay job, but it's not the same. Love Drea, though. She is money in the bank. Well, that's nice. I am Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sometimes I get a break on Friday to do the other things that just pile up on me throughout the week. But I do the show 4 solid days a week. I was just traveling this week on a special mission. Yeah.
Is Sasquatch Chronicles saying he doesn't like our panels? Is that what he's saying?
No.
Or
on the I think he just is complaining that I wasn't on earlier in the week. And I appreciate that. I'm very flattered. Thank you so much.
Yes,
that's nice. And he likes you too, so that's okay too.
Yeah.
All right. Drea, you can key up the cringe because I haven't seen your cringe.
Okay, well, this is a nice, short, quick cringe that, you know, it's like, yes, go ahead. And it is BC specific. Let's see how this woman became a hero for the goats. There's the cringe. Go Gina Moore from Nanaimo coming in there like a she-woman and kicking. It says it's a cougar.
Yeah, it looks like small. A little cougar.
It does look a little cougar.
Looks like a little cougar, yeah.
But either way, she did not hesitate. She came right out there to the rescue. And boy, could those goats move. Like, well, I mean, I don't blame them, but they were flying.
That's a cougar. Look at his face. Look at his ears. And lynx and bobcats have bobtails. So that's a little cougar. maybe have them smaller on the island.
We have them big where I am.
Yeah. I'm terrified of cougars.
Gina gave them the boot.
I'm outdoorsy. I don't like goats, but I found myself cheering for the goats there. People who like goats and think they're cute didn't grow up with goats. That's what I believe. But I don't like goats. I don't like how they smell. People think they're cute till they eat the seat off your lawn tractor and walk all over your car. But I was cheering for the goat there, so thank you.
Yes, for sure. All right.
All right.
Well, that was
I think
a happy
that's the
cringe,
show.
I guess.
Yeah, it was a happy way to end the show with a lady actually kicking the ass of a cougar. Just nice to see. Drea, you want to wrap up the show?
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Good to see you and do it with you again, Sheila. Thanks for everybody who tuned in and listened to the madness. Thank you to our producers who have been helping us. Sorry about my technical difficulties. And I guess we will see you tomorrow.
You know, folks, in my many years of reporting for Rebel News, I've covered corrupt politicians, rogue bureaucrats, and even parking enforcement officers who'd rather take a nap than write some tickets. But I have to say, this is a first. Apparently, I'm now available as a gift. Rebel News has launched something we're calling shoutouts. Here's the idea. You pick your favorite Rebel News journalist, maybe that's yours truly, or maybe it's someone else, that's okay. I won't take it personally. You tell us who the message is for, what the occasion is, and any details that'll make it feel personal. A name, an inside joke, a few things we should know about them. The more info you give us, the better the video. We'll record a selfie-style video and deliver it straight to your inbox within 3 business days. Birthdays, graduations, anniversaries, retirements, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, you name it. Messages are available in 30, 60, and 90-second increments, starting at just $100. Need it fast? Add 24-hour rush delivery for an extra $50. And every dollar you spend goes directly toward supporting Rebel News and our independent journalism. No government bailouts here, no corporate strings, just Canadians helping Canadians to keep telling the truth. Give the gift no one saw coming. Visit rebelnews.com/shoutouts. That's rebelnews.com/shoutouts to make your request today. I will be waiting.